what I think is important is always also from a CommVault perspective, you need to look at like why do we want to build that integration. And during that reflection exercise, you actually have 3 different motivations, reasons why you need to look into image-based backups, specifically for CloudStack. So first of all, last week there was that Gartner symposium here in Europe, and actually it highlighted a few really good metrics. So metric number 1 is for all organizations outside of the US, by 2030, about 75% of those organizations will have a digital sovereignty strategy defined. What is the other key takeaway from that resource or that finding is basically that about 55% of all of the CIOs and CTOs believe that open source has a valid place in that strategy. So I think that's a testimony. Everybody is already talking about the Broadcom and VMware acquisition. You do notice, even though from our side, from the CommVault perspective, we see a wide scattering around the virtualization space, going to a wide variety of different hypervisors. CloudStack is one of those. And together with US Signal and some of the other folks that are here, we're building on that. And then last but not least, the landscape of 10 years ago is not the landscape of today anymore. So by doing it this way, by leveraging our tooling, we also give you capabilities in the cybersecurity and the cyber recovery world. So why it matters?
Yeah, I mean, I think I hit on it, a little bit at a high level, but as we've brought OpenCloud to market, if you were in my talk earlier, I talked about the beachhead, and the beachhead for us was getting our managed service provider customers on board with OpenCloud. We've had a lot of success in that space, and historically the MSPs for us have actually used agent-based tools because historically that's what they've been able to use to manage backups for their customers. But as we bring OpenCloud further into the enterprise space and the enterprise vernacular, again, I don't know what it's like necessarily outside of the United States, but certainly within the United States, there's a large preference for native image-based backup capabilities. Granular recovery comes along board with that. Cross-hypervisor restore is going to be pretty significant, I think, as we get into this. And then, the power of the CommVault platform, if anyone hasn't used it before, is essentially once we present CloudStack to the CommVault command center, you can do anything you can do with any other hypervisor within CommVault.
And every other application, database, etc.
Right.
Can we do a quick raise hands? Prior to this session, who has heard about CommVault before? Okay, good. Who has been using it before? So what are we delivering? So first of all, we want to give organizations, partners, the abilities to really bolster the recovery capabilities on top of CloudStack. It also gives you the ability to strengthen the governance, get more insights, etc. What we notice is by using dispersed tooling, you lose that visibility. By using a solution like ours, it gives you that single pane of glass across all of your workloads. So regardless if it's virtualization, public cloud, physical hardware, databases, SaaS applications, etc. Everything that we do in our platform is able to scale with very simple modular deployments. The largest deployment I have done so far is for an organization in Belgium. In my time as a professional services consultant, it's about roughly 3 petabytes in front-end data. Our platform can scale. We're really enterprise ready. Now, looking at the entire functionality set of the platform, it also gives you as a partner the ability to start looking into additional value-added services. It's not only about running an EAS platform anymore. It's now about really delivering a business outcome. That business outcome is running a business, running an EAS platform, running data protection operations, testing, recovery, potentially also things in the world of cyber recovery and cyber resiliency. Good thing to know is we have with our platform 3 different deployment models. Deployment model is like plain and simple software, runs in your own data center. You can configure it. It's Linux-based, it's Windows-based. You can pick and choose. We also have a SaaS motion, which says, like, I don't need something more simple to use. I don't want to operate everything. You can go into a SaaS model, and we also have a solution that lives in between, which we call private instance. From a management perspective, everything is GUI-driven, but everything that we have in our command center, which is our web-based interface, is API-driven. So if you want to start automating things using API instrumentation sets, that is also perfectly feasible. What we usually see is that MSPs start using the API for the recurring things, but they leverage the GUI for reporting, governance, etc. Because then they have a more graphical interface to look and get insights. So it's a one user interface. With CommVault, we're also looking into integrating with third-party vendors. So probably the ones on the right-hand side, like Darktrace, CrowdStrike, Entrust, etc., are probably vendor names or names that you know. And then on the left-hand side, I think the main key takeaway is we're doing way more than only virtualization. It's a full-fledged portfolio in terms of types of applications, databases, virtualization platforms, etc., that we support.
And I think for us, where this makes a lot of sense, and this is maybe a bit unique to our business, but I mentioned we have a pretty significant size Nutanix business. We also do a lot in Microsoft Azure. And so what's exciting to me is we have customers that will be in 2 or maybe even more of those clouds, is to leverage a single platform to protect all of that data.
And have single insights across everything.
Yeah.
Which is, again, visibility and governance, compliance, and insights. I don't want you guys to read all of this.
I want you to read all of it.
I thought just adding this one was important to highlight that the breadth of coverage is quite extensive. I heard a lot of people talking about Kubernetes as well. We have Kubernetes agents, integrations, etc. If you're running Proxmox, guess what? We have an agent for that. If you're running still in Amazon, Google Cloud, guess what? It's also there. We're also doing more than only data protection. We are also focusing on things like cyber recovery, which is threat hunting capabilities within the backup data. So the best way that I always like to describe is how do you bounce your business back online after a cyber incident is. Without technologies like this, you recover data, you validate, you go back to your administrator and you say, the data is not clean, bring me the next data. And then you start the ping pong game. With all of those capabilities, we take away that pain by doing threat hunting within the backup data and giving you the capability of synthetic recovery. And synthetic recovery, what I usually see is that people still bring it into an isolated recovery environment, test and validate it before bringing it back into production. I know you're predominantly focused highly on on-premise solutions. We also have a solution called Cloud Rewind. Cloud Rewind really is a solution that allows you to back up the configuration of a public cloud. Just kind of neat, kind of cool. Not a lot of people or companies in the world are doing something like that. This is a long slide. And if I really want, I can spend 45 minutes on this, which I'm not going to do. So I'm assuming all of the slide decks will be shared, so you will have this. As highlighted, we're doing more than only data protection. We have an entire strategy around cyber. We have our security ecosystem. We have the capability to do some automation there, integrate with those ones that have highlighted there. We have the ability to also relay things to webhooks. If you're using your own alerting system, guess what? You can integrate that way. We have the entire threat scan capability in the middle, and we also have the ability to work with immutable storage. From a hardware perspective, CommVault is entirely hardware agnostic. So if you want to leverage virtualization, you want to use a physical server, you do what you want, that's okay. You want to use an appliance from our side, that's feasible. You want to use Linux media agents, Windows media agents, it's your choice. You do what you want. So you want to use NFS, XFS, object storage, all of that stuff. You do what you want. Was somebody asking me earlier yesterday, do you guys support tape? Yes, we do. We also still support tape. So that's our air-gapped storage. We have also in that cyberspace, we have things like clean room recovery with on top the Cloud Rewind capabilities for public clouds. And then on the other side, We have our capabilities related to risk analysis, which is more into the governance and compliance space. So thinking about GDPR, identification of personal identifiable information, etc. That's all in that risk analysis piece. In the lower section, we have something that we call ThreatWise. ThreatWise is deception management. So I always describe it as a printer with an identity crisis. You log onto it, it looks like a printer, you can click through it, it behaves like a printer, but in reality it's not a printer. The end goal there is that it functions as a lure to actually lure the bad actor into that system and then get the alert notification within the platform that you can relay into your own Siemens source solution. So what does it mean for a partner?
Yeah, and I mean, this is maybe a little bit of US Signal's take on this, but again, we've been doing data protection for decades at this point. And I think what OpenCloud has caused us to have to do is to really step back and think about how do we do things and how do we approach the customer. And it always starts, all the way to the left. And for us, very often, this is actually a pre-sales engagement, is really starting to understand what customers are trying to protect, why they're trying to protect it, and if there are any compliance needs that the customer has that we need to be aware of. Planning, again, for us, this is typically a pre-sales process. But we believe heavily in not just checking a box and backing data up, but actually testing and making sure that that data can be restored, and we encourage customers to do it. And then obviously providing ongoing monitoring services, again, across the sort of backup data protection estate.
So I think everybody's, at least I'm a visual learner. So we added a few screenshots of how the command center looks like so that you also have a little bit of a look and feel on what it is and how it behaves and looks and what it can offer. So I had a chat yesterday with somebody using CommVault, and he said, yeah, but I was using the console GUI, which was a Java UI fat client. I see your face, you understand. I feel you. So one of the things that we recognize is, we need to make it available in a more efficient way, and that's the reason and the moment that Command Center came to life. Command Center is entirely web-based. It is entirely multi-tenant aware, which is, I think, extremely important. And when I say multi-tenant aware, is you can give your own customers the permissions on their own data and infrastructure based on the permissions that you agree on. So it gives you role-based and scope-based access controls as well. If you want to integrate with a SAML identity provider, Enter ID, Okta, and so on, that's what all is feasible here as well. The first dashboard is the overview dashboard. So what is the overview dashboard? It gives you a little bit of insight in terms of what is this environment doing. It's not a large environment. It's a test environment, so don't look at the numbers. So it gives you SLA, it gives you the job statistics of the last 24 hours, which in the morning, the way that I describe it is, I'm sipping my cup of coffee. I need a quick glance. That's a dashboard I will start looking at. Now, hypervisors, virtual machines, as highlighted, it's a unified pane of glass across all different workloads. So in this virtual machine section, this is where you can find all of the hypervisors that you're protecting, being it Proxmox, being it CloudStack, being a public cloud, being VMware, whatever it might be, it's all in here. This is how the information is shared for a specific virtual machine that is being protected. So when you click through it, this is all of the level of details that it will give it to you in terms of what is the VM status, is it included in the SLA, when was the last backup time, how large was that virtual machine, when was the backup run, what are your point in times, that's that calendar on the right-hand side, together with the individual times underneath per hour. Good thing to know is that the platform offers you the ability to do in-place restores, out-of-place restores, but also the ability to mount a file system, protect it, and drive a granular restore, which is, again, a lifesaver and a time saver. Next slide is the information we've received from the CommVault PM and engineering team, but for this one, just to give you a little bit of insight, I took an Amazon client to just highlight how the browsing looks like. And this is how you browse for data. Good thing to know is in the platform, what we do is we actually do automated discovery. So automated discovery is basically one of your guys is provisioning a new virtual machine, and then he forgets adding it into the backup. Guess what? We will detect it. And if you set it up properly, because it's a configuration, we will also protect it accordingly, alerts you so that you can remediate. Why is this important? Avoid data loss for customers. These are the different types of browse. As highlighted, you can go by region, by zone, by tag, etc. in the Amazon hypervisor. Similar capabilities will be introduced for Apache CloudStack. This is how Google looks like together with the RD assistant. The RD assistant is our AI assistant. It's basically where you can talk to. Give me some information. What do I need to do here? Give me access to documentation. All of that capability is in there.
Hot AI take. I think this is an actual good use case of AI. If anyone's ever had to troubleshoot backups, right?
So we have our RD log sense and RD log analyzer. It's actually kind of cool, to be honest. So everywhere you have a lot of log files. What the RD log analyzer does is it captures all of the log files that are associated with that backup job, sends it to the AI. The AI will interpret everything, sends you an email and says, it's going wrong on that system, on that process at that time. And you immediately know where you have to start troubleshooting. We are investing a lot on that because it simplifies the level 1 troubleshooting work significantly. And this is our, one of our anomaly detection or anomaly dashboards as part of our security-related service offerings. So here we're looking at a server. It's the AWS Media Agent 1, and it gives you all of the information in terms of changed rate, deleted rate, modified rate, etc. So top corner, sneak preview. These are the screenshots we got yesterday. So this is how the Apache Cloud Stack will be represented within the CommVault Cloud software. And you see similar look and feel in terms of the Amazon hypervisor. We have a UX guide that is very detailed on making sure that the look and feel across all of the hypervisors is identical. This is how the configuration is being done. And here you can see also immediately how it is being scheduled, how many readers you're using, etc., to control the performance on the storage. The contents, so when I previously highlighted with that pencil icon, this is where you add the data. So we are now currently protecting 2 different virtual machines on the CloudStack environment. But also just be aware that you have rules sets in place as well that allows you to automatically add data to the backup, but also associated with different retention times, backup strategies, etc. Platform itself has copy management capabilities, which basically means you have 3 sites. The Apache CloudStack is here, you back it here, you take the data afterwards within the platform, you replicate it to another site, and you're disaster recovery compliant. That's how the job controller looked like. And this is eventually what we're going to announce in January. Support for 4.21 and forwards. Only KVM, and we're using the export-based method for CloudStack.
Yeah, and maybe this goes without saying, but we're design partners in this process. But once the functionality is live, this is for anybody that's a CommVault user. So that's for anybody who wants to use it.
Sorry? Those are the ones that we're looking at. Local storage, I'm pretty sure it's part of the LVM one. Yeah. Pretty sure. I'll double check, but I'm fairly confident. Target availability, we're looking at Q1 of FY26. Sorry, calendar year 26, not fiscal year 26. So January, February, March. So going forward, as of today, 4.21 and more recent. No reverse. It's going to be 11. No, latest version only. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. I think we have to talk afterwards. I added a number of questions that we've received before. First of all, what data can you back up? Virtual machines, go figure. But both powered on and powered off, because we go on the hypervisor level. So if you have a virtual machine that is powered off, guess what? You can still protect it. Which type of backups can be performed? Full incremented sinful. Which type of restores? In place, out of place, and guest file. How can you provide access? Already talked about it. Role-based access controls and scope-based access controls. How is it being licensed? It's an instance-based model per VM. I'm moving hypervisors. What is the type of licensing? What is the impact on the licensing? Licensing is agnostic. So if you're protecting 10 virtual machines on VMware today, you're bringing them over to CloudStack tomorrow, it's still a VM for us. Good thing to know for partners, we have a different licensing model where we can go subscription and utility. If you're a commercial customer, it is a capacity-based model. So just thing there to take into account. Partners usually like, I think, the utility-based model because you pay based on the way that the money comes into your organization, makes it easier. You want to add something, or all good?
Well, no, I was just going to say on the access piece, I mean, I think one of the layers of complexity, at least that we deal with, is we're providing a multi-tenant ecosystem, and so having built-in and native multi-tenancy it's not just critical, it's a table stake for us, but then when we think about things like RBAC, we have different levels within our organization. Level 1, technical operations center, customer calls in. We want those people to have a different level of access than somebody that's a cloud administrator, just as an example. So this is something that we're also really excited about. And traditionally for our commercial tools, other than Acronis, we haven't really been able to give our customers access to managing their own backups. And so we're very excited for the possibility of offering that in the future, especially for the larger enterprise customers. They tend to want to manage their own backups.
Or at least have certain inside visibility.
At least be able to have visibility, for sure, yeah.
I always have to add that one. I think it's a little bit of a testimony. It's not new to us, data protection. So we've been working with a whole bunch of customers already around the globe to actually deliver their data protection platform. So, I think every good presentation needs to have a call to action. So there is a QR code. You scan the QR code, you will get up to a Microsoft form where you can leave your details. We're planning to do a virtual webinar with our product management team and engineering team in the second half of January. I would love to have the US Signal guys present as well. As of that moment, the integration will be more built, complete, should be complete, will be complete. And you will have access to the right persons on the engineering side, product management side, to go way more in depth in terms of questions, capabilities, features, etc.
One last thing I'll offer too is feel free to fill out the form, but if you ask questions as we go and experience the other half of being a design partner, the US Signal team is happy to answer your questions as well.
I added this one for a second time because I also got slammed by proxy to put this slide in there. If you haven't done it yet, please fill in the survey. And we still have 3 minutes, which is what we wanted to achieve to take Q&A.